Good morning. It's Friday, November 30th, last day of National Novel Writing Month. I'm going to do a little update on Valkyrie of Desire and my short stories and flash fiction, writing tip, and a little fun story. So, National Novel Writing Month is 50,000 words in just 30 days. So, anyone accomplishing that, kudos. I've done it for a number of years, and then I stopped because I found myself perpetuating some bad writing habits. So be cautious about that, but take those great ideas, that flow, the stories that come out, and run with it. Just be aware of how you can get stuck in kind of a rut of bad habits, and they can be hard to unpack. And just be aware of your own ego and be humble as you do critique exchanges, which is a fantastic way to work through those bad habits. So I've just posted the 5th part to the Jabberwaki short story series. And I think it's gotten a great reception, so I'm excited about it. I'll definitely come back to the Jabberwaki concept later, and the next is exploring the Guy Caverns. Our heroes will have or have had, since this is based on my game mastering of a virtual tabletop role-playing game that's based in the same setting of my novels. They've had some fun experiences at their expense and at my expense. Them foiling my carefully laid traps and plans and horrid creatures, and then also suffering themselves when more often than not they kind of mess each other up rather than my intended traps and plans come to fruition. It's kind of a fun collaborative storytelling experience to not know how the exact. I mean, it's for me, my Schadenfreude, my pleasure in the other's suffering. It's a finer flavor when it's a surprise, and yeah. So that's upcoming over the next month. And writing tip. I've been getting. I get consistent compliments on my dialogue. So I'm have a Valkyrie of Desire, the novel I'm working on, chapter 19. I'm going through the critiques for it from Scribophile. I may have it posted by the time this is uploaded. And someone commented that they really liked my dialogue, and I was thinking about that as a good writing tip for today. I think of, let's say, talking to my wife. If I ask her a question, more often than not, she's not going to answer the question I asked. She will make a statement completely unrelated, or she'll answer another question. People just aren't that cooperative often in dialogue and conversation. So I kind of keep that in mind, and maybe I'll have the question answered a few lines later. I don't want the reader to forget necessarily the question asked. Don't want to stretch it out. Don't want to make dialogue necessarily too realistic, but edging in the direction of not being so cooperative. And I think that is best shown with asking a question and then having the other character just ignore it or respond with a question and just kind of show that tension and frustration. Otherwise, it kind of seems like you're having a conversation with yourself. Let's see. Yeah, Valkyrie of Desire 19 should be up hopefully today, and 20 is in the queue, so that should be up later this week. I am going to New Orleans. It's exciting. I've never been. Be a great city to find a muse and enrich my writing. So that will, I think I'll have plenty of time to keep updated, but that will influence, hotel internet will influence. I might have to skip a video coming up next month, but let's see, story time. One of the characters in the role-playing sessions is Beorn, and the player wanted him to have some fire magic. I was like, I just not all the great stuff that I can already do. I just want a little bit more. So like, okay. So he had a nightmare, and another character, Jacob, in this nightmare, one of his fellow party members, was standing over Beorn. So Beorn has a nightmare of himself sleeping and waking to Jacob standing over him, and then Jacob coming down, and then Jacob opening his mouth. But it just keeps opening impossibly wide, and then a swarm of these. It's kind of a hybrid between a hornet and a mushroom. Just pours out of his mouth, and Beorn, but it's going up in his nostrils and just infects him with something. He knows that he's infected, and he gets this fever because he really doesn't like it. He gets mad. And the fire burns it out of him, and he wakes, and he's just covered in sweat because he's had this intense fever, and now he has fire magic. But why? What spurred him to develop the fire magic? And the party will find out later. But I like when players want things. So within a story, I like when a main character, or any character that's like a secondary character that's important to readers, desire something, and giving it to them, but maybe there's a catch, a price. I don't just allow someone to be overpowered. There's kind of a trope with a lot of fantasy anime exploring overpowered situations. There's a price. There's attention to its achievement and use. So I'm gonna have fun with that. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you next Friday.